Hello and welcome to VANTAGE Views. I'm Dawn Meglin. I'm the Senior Director of Community Engagement with Vantage Aging. And welcome to our show. We're here to talk about positive aging. Our goal here with Vantage Views is to introduce you to the people and organizations in our communities and across Northeast Ohio who support positive aging so that people can successfully age in place. We are headquartered in Akron, Ohio, and our mission is to promote a positive perspective on aging here at Vantage. We do this through several different programs that include job training for older adults, Meals on Wheels, behavioral health programs, in-home care, and the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. So welcome and thanks for joining today. So today's topic is about employment, and we thought we'd share some information with you today about employment statistics here. Did you know that the number of Americans born between 1946 and 1964, the baby boomer generation, are remaining on the job in greater numbers than ever before? In fact, according to the American Society on Aging, the number of workers aged 55 and older is projected to nearly double by 2020. This means that 1 out of every 4 workers are going to be over the age of 55 by next year. So why is the workforce aging? Well, there's a lot of contributing factors to this besides just living longer. And those include financial need because of life circumstances due to the economic downturn that we recently had to survive. People also want to be sure that they have enough funds for their retirement. Another reason for the older workforce is a talent shortage. The baby bust, which was the group of people born 1965 to 1976, created a smaller number of people to be in the generation of the working. So older workers are having to remain in the workforce simply because there's a shortage of people to be out there. And maybe more so, people just want to continue working because they enjoy being active and contributing to their household. So for many baby boomers already working, there's not much of a need for employment assistance. But for others who've been downsized from employment, who need to switch jobs for health or personal reasons and don't know where to turn, there are programs to provide them with assistance like we have here at Vantage Aging. At Vantage, we offer the Senior Community Service Employment Program, or SCSEP, that helps older adults wishing to retool themselves for today's workforce. And today we are going to talk with John Roberts, who is our SCSEP project director, and he's here to share information about the SCSEP program. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Like you had any choice,
no,
right?
I did not.
You did not.
No.
You did not. So, John, can you talk to us about what you do every day and what exactly is the SCSEP program at Vantage Aging?
Okay, my little commercial that I give to everybody every time anybody asks me is pretty simple. It's we're a paid on the job training and development program for seniors that are 55 and older that are lower income. It's a Title V program. We're funded through grants via the Department of Labor and Ohio Department of Aging. We pair up with 501c3 nonprofits or government agencies, and they provide the actual work training and the direct supervision, and we provide, but we're the money man behind the operation and the mentorship. That's the basic the gist of the program. When we look to improve people's skill set and provide them current work experience and whatnot in order to make them marketable in the open job market.
Great. So what are the benefits of someone that wants to participate in this program? What would they be benefiting from by being a SCSEP participant?
Well, I mean, that just depends on the individual themselves. I mean, they come in there with different goals and different needs. So their benefits would be, current job experience. We deal with a lot of individuals. Their biggest barrier is gap in work history. That could be for whatever. It could be, somebody being out because of a disability. They got hurt on the job and now they're fine, but they have a huge gap in work history. It could be, individuals that were taking care of the home, taking care of the home, and now all the little ones are out and about, out of the nest now. So now they're looking to get back into the workforce. Right. It could be people making, you mentioned before, the people making that career switch. So, what the benefit is, they're again, the current workforce, a lot of them self-confidence. Some who being out of the workforce for so long, they lose self-confidence, and I'll tell you just by personal experience. Now, I have a high level of self-confidence myself, but I will tell you this. When I retired from the Marine Corps and I was looking for a job, and I really didn't know how to look for a job. I never had to. And I mean, that was starting to weigh on my self-confidence. I'm not getting hired by anybody. I got all these great, these great qualifications, and so that's a benefit that they get. Once they get into the, into the workforce, and they show that they could be an asset to any organization or to a company. It boosts their self-confidence, and you can tell, you can just see in their demeanor and things like that. Another huge benefit is they get updated skills. The workforce is always ever changing, and you have to adapt with it. It's either adapt or you get left behind.
Right.
And one of the biggest hitter we have is in the area of technology. The demographic that we deal with, they didn't come up with, in the computer age. A lot of them didn't. So now they're trying to readjust and and catch up with the times, and that's what they do, because pretty much every organization they work with, I mean, whether with anything but that involves computers or whatever, they're using the most current updates. So that's some of the benefits that you'll see when you come into the program.
So what are the qualifications to become a participant in the program?
Qualifications are pretty standard. Obviously, the first and most important is you have to be at least 55. I always tell people, I'm like, don't be in any hurry to get there. But that's it. When we go to job fairs, I'm like, you're not old enough. They're like, what do you mean? So 55 is the minimum age. And 55 and older, so it can be wherever. I have an individual, I think the oldest lady I have in my program is 87 years old, and she makes it happen every day. The age is nothing but a number to a lot of people, and that's great. And the other one is to be lower income. There are income guidelines that we have to meet. It depends on the household size. It stems like from as the number of household size increases, so does the income threshold. So those are the minimum qualifications. Another big qualification is just a desire to work. We don't want individuals coming in here just for something to do. We want individuals that are looking to get out and improve themselves, to get out into the regular workforce. So that's the basic qualifications of what we're looking for.
So this program is really designed for somebody who's looking for temporary work experience so they can eventually go out and get a full-time job. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Here's what I tell everybody. I say, listen, I want you out of the program as quick as possible. Not because I dislike anybody, is because we're a stepping stone program and we're perfectly fine with that. So I want you on to bigger and better things.
Right.
So we do that. We paid the stipend at Ohio minimum wage at 20 hours a week, because the rest of the time they're either doing supplemental training. That supplemental training being computer training. If you're looking to go into warehousing, forklift training, we have different a CDL if that's what the individual's looking for. So
Okay, great. So we're looking to get people even certified, if necessary, to pursue whatever their career goals are.
Right, and we work close hand in hand with Ohio Means Jobs, and they have different pots of money that they could pull from for training. So if the individual's qualified and they meet their requirements, they can go on to, they can pay for that kind of training. I've had individuals with CDL training, different computer programming type training. But that's usually a lot of that. The higher dollar training that usually we use supplement via the WIOA money through OMJ.
Okay, so what's the average length of time that someone's going to be in the program, getting that job training before they find full-time employment?
Okay, well, I mean that's not an easy question. I would say on average it's 6 months to a year. They could be in the program for up to 4 years. Okay. I always make sure that everybody knows that. I never advise that. And that's CSEP across the board, because CSEP, you have, under the CSEP umbrella, you have Vantage Aging, you have AARP, Goodwill, National Black Caucus, Experience Works, which not in Ohio anymore, but those are all under the CSEP umbrella. So it's 4 years across the board. So when I say, so the average is, and again, that also depends on the person's skill level when they came into the program. Some people I get they already have a high level of work experience. They have no job, there's not a huge job gap. They got some pretty decent skills. You need to brush up on some things here and there and move on. Others, I get some individuals with very little training at all, and it takes longer to get them to build them up and to train them and get them confident enough to get out into the regular workforce. So, but I say on average, an average would be like 6 months to a year, I would say.
So, I would imagine that being an older adult, re-entering into the workforce is a scary proposition for anybody. It's got to be quite intimidating. Yeah. I know myself, I raised my kids and I was that mom sending my kids off and I went back into the workforce. It's intimidating. So what are some of the biggest challenges people face when they're starting in the CSEP program?
Well, you made a great point, is just that fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the transition. Again, I was a United States Marine for 20 years. I've done a lot of different things that, and I was a little fearful going into the transitioning to something new. I was like, wow. So I understand that feeling that people have, and another, that's the major barrier they face. But we also talked about the self-confidence thing. But once they get somebody to even believe in them, you'll already see the level of self-confidence start to build. Some things are, some individuals, a barrier that some people don't take into consideration is that some people are coming from higher level positions. Now they're almost back down to the bottom. So they have to check their ego at the door. Like, listen, you have to start back at the bottom, work your way back up. It's another challenge we face. Another huge challenge we face because of the demographic is disabilities.
Yeah.
We don't discriminate against anybody. I have people with, that are in wheelchairs. I have individuals with different kind of developmental disorders and things like that. I don't turn people away as long as you have the motivation and the drive to succeed. We're going to help you. And there's different ways. You have to be maybe a little bit more creative with their individualized employment plan, but it's something that we're willing and we have done to help individuals succeed. So those are some of the basic barriers that we do face. Obviously, as some individuals come with different ones, but those are the big hitters that we usually have to. And also I do the lack of technological knowledge. Because we got to remember the demographic were too. They didn't have computers. They didn't have iPhones or cell phones. And some don't still. They're like, I'm not getting that.
Right.
But yeah, those are the big ones.
Okay. All right. So tell me about. I know that the CSEP program for Vantage Aging is 38 counties wide. Mm-hmm. What counties do you serve? Okay,
I serve I run the Elyria project. So the counties that I serve, my main office is in Lorraine.
Okay.
So I service Lorraine, Cuyahoga, Medina, Lake, and Geauga counties.
Okay. So since we're here in Wadsworth in Medina County, if someone wanted to get a hold of you to learn more about this program, how would they get in touch with you? Do you come down to this area to meet people if they have transportation issues, or just do it by phone, or how does that work?
That kind of plays in something I forget is transportation is another barrier.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That definitely depends on the county. But yes, what I do is I travel to the people.
Okay.
I will never make anybody come to me.
Okay.
Because I understand that one thing, and that's one of the fun parts about the job. You get to go out and travel everywhere. You don't have to sit behind a desk all day. But I absolutely will go. You contact my office. My admin assistants a lot of times will screen you over the phone. I know that's one of the ways. But there's inquiries for information they can submit via our website. They call our number, and again, we lock on a meeting, and I come to you. We can go wherever. Obviously I don't go to people's personal homes, but I can meet anywhere. I can meet in the library,
Starbucks,
McDonald's. I'm a frequent flyer in McDonald's and a lot of the ones in Cleveland. They know me by name. Hey, what's going on? Who are you meeting today? Like it's my office.
That's right.
But no, and that's another beauty of the job, and one of the things that's the good flexibility. But I will go to them.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And you may roll up on a motorcycle.
Absolutely.
Just let people know that
hey,
you make
that's
money
fine. That's
on a
another
motorcycle.
fringe benefit of the job,
Drives his motorcycle.
Yep.
So can you describe what the average day is like for somebody that's in the CSEP training program?
Okay. Well, again, that just depends. The average day is just like you would be at any other workplace. I tell the host agencies that I'm sure we'll be talking about soon. Mm-hmm. You treat them like you would any other employee. They interview like they would at any other place. It's everything to me and should be to them is a training opportunity. So the average day is they're told to be you're coming to work at a certain time, and they come there, they're dressed for however the job asks for, and they conduct their job just like they would anywhere. If it's an office administrative job, you're doing office work. If you're doing maintenance custodian, you're doing maintenance work. It just all depends on their actual job, but or the active position. But the job is just like you would in any other place, company, organization that you would outside the program.
Right. Wonderful. So you mentioned host sites. So tell people what a host site is, because we're using our own language that nobody understands but the two of us in this room.
All right. So a host agency is our training sites. Like I said before, when we first started, We team up with 501c3 nonprofits or government agencies. They provide the training opportunities. Now we have, we have Boys and Girls Club, Boys Hope, Girls Home in Cleveland. We have the VA hospital. We have several city government positions, Habitat for Humanity. All these organizations, and they have a myriad of training opportunities for individuals. But so those are the spots where the individual will actually be conducting their training. They'll actually be working every day. They're supervised. They're under the supervision of that organization, and again under the kind of behind the scenes mentorship from myself being the project director. So that's the whole part about the whole thing about being a host. The host agency is you're there to supervise and assist and train and get them ready to move on to the open job market.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching today and they're working for a nonprofit or a government agency, how do they become a host site?
And that's another simple. It's a simple process. They just call. They give me a call. They call my office. They forward me the information. I get in contact with them, ask them a few gauging questions. Are you a 501c3 or a nonprofit? And they have to. And the 501c3 has to. They can be under an umbrella of another organization. However, there has to be a letter designating them for that.
Okay.
So, and that could be, because a lot of church organizations they fall under that. We do partner up with churches and things like that, but a lot of times they're under umbrella of another organization. So, as long as they have an attachment letter, we're usually good to go.
So, like if a food pantry is under the umbrella of a church,
yes,
and somebody was going to be placed at a food pantry,
yeah,
would that be an example of
absolutely.
that? Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah. So then what happens is after that is again we arrange we arrange a meeting, and I come out and do a site visit. And I go over all the do's and don'ts and things like that of being a host site. And I also do a safety inspection of the facility.
Oh.
You have to make sure that it's a safe environment for individuals to work. Because some of these places are in high crime areas. Others are just some of them are just older buildings. 501c3s. We got to we got to get what we take what we get. But at the same time we have to still keep the best interest and the safety of our individuals in mind. So we'll do a safety inspection and make sure everything's good. They have fire extinguishers and they're under different fire codes and things like that. And then we just do a simple. It's not a contract. Whenever you say contract, people get kind of like, oh my God, it's an agreement. It's a host agency agreement. That's usually 3. We have to redo them every 3 years. We have to do them by 2020. And it just covers it covers what the individual is going to be doing, different supervisor information, things like that. So it's actually a pretty simple process.
Right.
So I always ask individuals, for those who are watching this opportunity, obviously, how the Elyria project, makes how we're successful is by networking, and networking via host agency development. Who knows other host agencies or 501cs like other 501c3s? They're always looking for individuals to help there.
Right.
So this is and I don't like to use the word free labor, but it's we're the ones paying them and they're the ones training. So a lot of the 501c3s, we don't have a lot of money to deal with, so we'll take any help that we can get.
Right.
And that's pretty much the easy simple answer.
Simple process
Yes,
for government funded programs.
That's right.
Awesome. So you did kind of touch on then, John, a little bit of the extra benefit to the nonprofits and government agencies in that they're able to kind of build capacity for the services they're providing because they're not paying for that additional help. They're training, but not paying for that additional help. That allows them to kind of spread their mission out even further, doesn't it?
Yes. And another great thing about it is we have 501c3s, this is more prevalent in the government agencies, but I do have a lot of 501c3s that still do it, is they eventually hire on our individuals. And the reason that they do it, they're getting a free look at them. They understand, these people, and I get a lot of people they're up on their, I'm like, well, find some money to hire them, and because they see how, these people, they have these rock stars and they don't want to lose them. So they'll find money somehow. The VA hospital downtown is obviously my big hitter, and I've had a lot of individuals hired on there permanently, which is huge. And I'm always looking to expand, and I'm always looking to I would love to partner up with some, with the Cleveland Clinic or the UH or somebody like that. So if you're watching, hey, get a hold of me. I'm here. and you'll benefit because like I was talking to Nancy. She's the right over here at the Wadsworth Community Center, and she has a couple of our individuals who she absolutely loves, and she keeps in, she hits on how much of a great work ethic that they bring to the table, because you cannot teach work ethic in a classroom. And I'm not gonna sit up here on a soapbox and talk about work ethic. But we see the work ethic from the generation that we're dealing with. It's second to none. I mean, and that's just how it is. It's how they grew up, and they've worked hard their whole life, and they still want to do that. And to be in whatever capacity, whether just keeping them busy or they have to supplemental in their income or whatever, do an increasing cost. But the experience and the work ethic and the reliability and dependability that these individuals bring to the table is just, I can't really put it on in words, but you just have to see it in action.
Right.
So it's a great program.
So this program really does help us to overcome ageism in the workforce, doesn't it?
Yes. We obviously, there's legislation out there, you're not supposed to age discriminate, but let's be honest. We know that's just not, that's legislation, and people will there still is age discrimination. We teach them we teach them how to mask their age on resumes and things like that. Just to because the resume gets their foot in the door, then they sell themselves after that. But you got to get there. And again, when some people see that the individual and how old they are, that they give a second thought, like, oh man, they're going to have health issues, or they're not going to be as quick, or they're not to be as good at their job, or they don't have the current knowledge, and they're wrong. And we help prove that and bridge that gap. We're like, oh, wow, these people are going to be rock stars for this organization. We need to hire them. So
that's great. Awesome. So how can people get in touch with you, John, regarding the program? Those people, especially in this Medina area, how can they get a hold of you?
Obviously, you can go to the VANTAGE Aging website, and again, you can submit an inquiry for information. That gets forwarded off to me. Or you can call my office, 440-324-3588. My admin assistants are there, and they can answer any question. They do a great job screening people over the phone. And if they find, if you meet the qualifications, they send you an application. You fill out the application and things like that, and you send it back, and then we go from there.
Wonderful. Well, John, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that I always thank you for that, because as we just celebrated July 4th, I want to make sure we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing all this great information about the Senior Community Service Employment Program. You're very passionate about what you do.
Thanks. I love what I do.
Well, it shows.
Yeah,
it
thank
shows. So, Vantage Views will be airing monthly here on WCTV, and we'll be sharing everything with you about positive aging, and happy to answer any questions that you have. Please feel free to give us a call if you have any suggestions for our show, anybody that would like to be interviewed as an example of positive aging, or someone that you think exemplifies positive aging. Give me a call at 330-253-4597. or visit us on the website at vantageaging.org. And until next time, thank you for joining us. And remember that we're not growing older, we're growing bolder. Have a great day.